Maniacs, welcome back to the channel, doing another Dead Meat reaction. I love Dead Meat. I've been watching James for a while now, probably actually for, I think, going on a year and a half now. I've been just watching Dead Meat, and I just really enjoy it. We're going to be reacting to a newer video, which is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. A lot of people hated this film. Netflix released it, and you know what? As much as I really do see the issues, and I can acknowledge that, yes, it's not a great movie. As a matter of fact, it's not really a great sequel. I still really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't, and that's fine. I don't want to come off like I'm going to judge you for your opinion. I 100% understand, and I actually do tend to agree that, yes, I can see why a lot of people just do not like this movie. 100% understandable. I enjoyed it for what it was. I had fun with it. I liked their version of Leatherface. I thought it was a good kind of coming back to like the Gunnar Hansen feel. I really dug it. I really did. And I actually liked the mask. I liked that it had like a meaning to why he was wearing it. I loved that it was like the mask was like a resemblance of his rage and his revenge for what they did to the person who was taking care of him, the foster parent. So I liked that, but we're going to go ahead and dive into this. If you like this type of content and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, share the content. It does mean a lot, and if you guys want to go even farther, we have a Patreon page, or you can become a channel member. Really cool shit. So here we go with some more Dead Meat.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Nope, not the 1974 original. And no, not the remake from 2003. This one doesn't have "the" in the title. It's just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, released on Netflix in 2022. This is the first new Chainsaw film since Leatherface in 2017, and the first since I covered the franchise on the Kill Count in 2019. Texas Chainsaw 22 is kind of a requel to the first film, making this the third or fourth Texas Chainsaw timeline.
There's a lot of timelines. As a matter of fact, he just mentioned the 2017 movie that came out. I think it was either 2017 or 2019, Leatherface. I did not like that movie at all. I really felt like it just did not feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It felt like just some weird prison escape-esque kind of movie. It was weird. It was just weird, and the twist did not work for me at all. I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. I understand. It's really the gore was good. The gore was really good, but other than that, yeah.
Depending on if you think McConaughey was whooping it up in the OG reality. The 2017 Leatherface was originally supposed to have more sequels, but it took so long to release that Lionsgate lost the Texas Chainsaw rights. Legendary Pictures nabbed them up in 2018, and after some musical chairs between filmmakers, directing duties fell to Texas native David Blue Garcia. His panoramic wide shots and sun-baked cinematography make it feel like we're in Texas, even though they filmed in Bulgaria in 2020, complete with a COVID interruption. Nearly a year after production was finished, the film was released on Netflix to a fair amount of criticism. What were people's problems with it? Well, mostly the modernization. This is Texas Chainsaw social media style, with influencers and entrepreneurs as Leatherface's latest victims.
I loved that moment. I laughed.
Cancel, bro.
That one line, featured in the trailer, was enough to sink this movie with a significant chunk of the audience. Franchise devotees also bemoan the lack of a family, be they Sawyers, Hewitts, whatever you want to call them. Instead, baby boy Leatherface flies solo in this film. Though he's still avenging a surrogate mother figure, Leatherface is usually portrayed as an unwilling monster, goaded into violence by the much more malicious family members around him. Their absence in this film turns him into a much more conventional lug with a power tool. There's also some stuff with the protagonist being a school shooting survivor, which is in questionable taste. And finally, this movie needlessly brings back Sally Hardesty in a way that blatantly emulates Halloween 2018. Listen, Sally was great, and her daring escape is featured in the extended Dead Meat intro, but she was never on the level of Laurie Strode, and bringing her back to be a gun-toting, Leatherface-hunting sheriff is so ham-fisted, Danny DeVito should be soaking them knuckles in rum. All that being said, I didn't hate this movie. I think we said it best on the podcast.
I didn't either. It was stupid and I liked it.
It was stupid fun. This movie is very
I actually am going to agree with James right there. I really agree with them both, actually. I agree. It's a stupid, fun movie. It really is. It really is. It's got some really good moments in there too. Like some really fucking great gore effects. It's got some really awesome moments, especially that I'm sure he's gonna have a blast with that. That bus murder scene, the massacre was just fucking awesome. I loved that moment. And yes, I even laughed when they mentioned cancel culture. Trying to think you get canceled, bro. And maybe, yeah, that's a little bit cringy, but it's not like on the levels of, do your thing, cuz. At least it's not for me. I just loved seeing all those fucking people get it. Like, I was like, yeah, fuck, yeah, okay. He's just fucking up that. I don't know what that says about me, but when he fucks him up, that was pretty freaking awesome. And I do like the performance, again, of Leatherface throughout the film. I think he does great. And I'm kind of glad they tried something different. There wasn't a crazy family kind of ecking him on and stuff and telling him what to do. I kind of liked that he was kind of soloing it. In all honesty, I think that's different, and I liked it. Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this.
Stupid. Almost knowingly so. I still can't decide if it's part parody, especially considering the final shot. In fact, I find it dumb fun, much like I do Halloween Kills. The difference is Chainsaw 2022 takes itself way less seriously. It's modern day camp and completely over the top. It's got chainsaw chucking, poop floods, and a guy screaming out this noise. Oh! I laughed my ass off several times, and in between was treated to some real good gore. Even better, the blood and guts were almost entirely practical, as decreed by producer Fede Alvarez, who had the same predilection when he directed the Evil Dead remake.
I think I always take sloppy, crazy, like kind of slightly campy special effects than any like polish, like super high-end VFX, right?
Chainsaw 22 is a far cry from Tobe Hooper's two masterpieces that began this franchise. But to be honest, most of the other installments aren't great, and at least this one's bad in a fun way. Still, if the beating Texas sun and poop floods leave you feeling dirty, we've got you covered with today's sponsor, Dr. Squatch. That's right, we've gotten a Squatch sponsor for Pinhead, Jason, and Mikey My, so we'd hate to leave old Leatherboy out of the suds and fun. Plus, honestly, he really needs it. Like, sure, you could blame his murder rampages on psychological trauma, but just look at how dirty he gets. Who wouldn't be grumpy covered in grime like that? And the human skin mask, it's horrifying.
And in Texas, the fucking humidity.
With Dr. Squatch's all-natural, the original Texas Chainsaw was mostly psychological horror, without a lot of on-screen blood. But director Garcia said that audiences have become desensitized, so his movie needed gore and creative deaths. Let's see how creative this cat got with his corpses and get to the kills.
It's got some creative stuff in here. Yeah, you gotta acknowledge that.
The movie begins by bringing back John Larroquette for his third narrated intro of the series.
In the summer of 1973, a few miles outside
Dude, I love
Austin,
this opening.
Texas,
Loved it.
5 youths were attacked in a grisly and gruesome fashion by an unidentified madman.
Oh hell yeah, they also bringing back that flashbulb sound effect. We love it! This news report mentions the victims from the original and tells us Sally Hardesty is still alive. After surviving the ordeal, she became a Texas Ranger, but was never able to track down Leatherface, the big boy still at large. Now it's nearly 50 years later, in the age of cell phones and self-driving cars. A group of youths are moving from Austin to the rural ghost town of Harlow. Population, original movie's release year. It's easy to assume these uber millennials will be easy to hate, and they truthfully do suck at first. For instance, Melody here has obnoxious dialogue that I don't believe anyone would say aloud like this.
Look at this guy. Who has such a small dick they need to walk around in public with a fucking
No one would say that.
Not loud enough for the guy to hear. But then we find out she hates guns because her younger sister Lila is a school shooting survivor, so her pugnacity makes sense. The movie doesn't paint the locals as cartoon characters either. Yes, Richter's response to Melody is a thinly veiled threat.
The only way to deal with an invasive species is to eradicate them. On side.
And he's also a coal-rolling asshole, which sucks. But he ends up having some more shades to him later on. The other locals, like the guy at Harbinger Petrol, who calls them gentrifuckers, seem less judgmental about the kids' youthful sensibilities and more concerned about the region's small-town integrity.
Some of us were born here, you know. Saw it in its prime. So please, be respectful for the town.
Melody promises they will, since their grandma grew up nearby. And I like that she and the sheriff come to an understanding here. It shows the locals aren't all bad guys, except maybe this deputy and his blatant eye fucking. Keep it in your sockets, pal. All I'm saying is, I think this movie balances these cultural forces a lot better than, say, the Wrong Turn reboot, where the rural folk claimed they were morally equal to the city youths, but also murdered people and kept sex slaves. God, that was fucked up. Texas Chainsaw may approach these themes and characters in shallow ways, but it's also more unique and interesting. The kids get to Harlow, eager to take over the abandoned town and spread their messages all over it.
Behold the joys of late-stage capitalism.
Maybe spread something else all over too, by the sounds of it. Oh! Dante is clearly excited, being the head of this expedition, which is never fully explained. I guess they're creating a utopia town?
We're idealistic individuals who want to build a better world.
That doesn't really provide any answers.
Not really.
Yeah, that's a cult.
There's also that. Turns out
that's
Richter, the gun-toting, coal-rolling guy from the gas station, is their contractor, meaning he's working on the buildings that Dante and Melody are trying to sell. Dante also has a significant other who looks like Samara Weaving and whose name is Dante's partner. At least that's what the Netflix subtitles call her, Dante's partner, the entire time. She's called Ruth in the end credits, but I swear, I never once heard that name said.
No.
An old Confederate flag won't look good to Dante's investors who are arriving soon, so they head inside the building to take it down. It's an old orphanage, complete with a group picture from 1975. There's a faceless big boy in the back, but even more alarming is the cadaver-looking woman they find still living there. These buildings are supposed to be empty, all of them reclaimed by the bank months ago. The woman, Ginny, says there's been some confusion and claims she still owns the title to this place. Honestly, the building's title is like a whole fucking thing, but it's too dumb and specific for me to get into here. You can always go watch the movie to see more about the title plot. When the youths push their claim on the house, Ginny's last foster big boy appears at the top of the stairs. Oh, it's fucking Leatherface! The cops then arrive, and the situation gives Ginny a puke-spewing heart attack. So Leatherson lifts her up and puts her in the sheriff's van so they can take his mama to the hospital. With the bus of investors rounding the bend, Dante's partner offers to go with the police and let the others know what happens to Ginny. I'm sure she'll be just fine with all those cops and also Leatherface. In this movie, I guess Leatherface has been living out his days in an orphanage that he stumbled upon 2 years after the events of the first film. That new revelation, and the return of Sally Hardesty, is why this movie feels like a requel. It's worth noting, though, that story by credit and producer Fede Alvarez claims this doesn't explicitly erase the continuity of the previous sequels. He basically said it's pick and choose canon, so maybe Leatherface hung out at this orphanage in between shilling chili with his brothers in an amusement park from hell, living with Viggo Mortensen in the swampy region of Texas, and working for the Illuminati under Matthew McConaughey's watch.
Whatever you want to believe it, guys. Whatever you want to believe. Whichever timeline you want to go with, it works for this one. It's all okay. I just kind of make it a direct sequel to the first one. I kind of enjoy it more thinking about that way.
You don't think the FBI has its place under 24-hour surveillance? You don't think there's transmitters in all these walls?
I'm interested in your ideas, Mr. McConaughey. Could you please tell me more? Fascinating. Ginny's doing real bad in the back of the paddy wagon, and she shortly dies, finishing her transformation into a corpse. The death of one of Leatherface's loved ones is bad news for any non-Leatherfaces in the vehicle. The first one he takes his anger out on is the deputy sitting in the back with him. He breaks that guy's wrist, then uses the exposed broken bones to stab him in the neck. Oh my god!
That's
Blood
awesome.
and chaos ensue.
It's crazy.
The dying cop's gun goes off, shooting the driving sheriff through the neck. The car crashes into a tractor hard. Back at Dontopia, he's trying to sell his vision to one of the investors named Catherine. Melody is unable to help him with the pitch, feeling out of it after accidentally giving an old woman a heart attack. She barely manages to get through the lot auction.
Sold to Candace Brady of Brady's Brunch. Oh, I love brunch. That's great.
To create a pre-utopian Texas town in Eastern Europe, production designer Michael Perry headed the construction of 40 building facades, exterior and interior sets, and the entire gas station from scratch. Director David Blue Garcia says the only thing missing was barbed wire. The set decorators then imported American candy bars for the gas station and included a chair of bones in the orphanage as a nod to the Sawyer home decor from the original.
I missed that.
Leatherface can be seen sitting in the bone chair in the foreground of a dark shot. Melody's sister Lila, played by 8th grade graduate Elsie Fisher, is the movie's main character, even though she's in the back seat for a lot of the first act. She doesn't have anything to do with the nebulous business they're running either. Lila reluctantly came here with her sister and is already whining about wanting to go back home. She leaves the others and strikes up a combo with Richter, then checks out the gun he's got lying around. I can't decide if the school shooting subplot is in bad taste or not. After all, at this point, it's sadly a thing plenty of people have gone through, so maybe
unfortunately,
it should be depicted in movies. But being used as a source of trauma for a character in a campy horror movie, yeah, maybe that approach isn't it. Especially when her school is called Stonebrook, a way too obvious reference to Stoneman Douglas. In any case, I do love the scene between these characters.
That must be tough, living with that.
Everyone expects me to do something special with my life now, and I can only disappoint them.
Also, I guess I'll count these 7 students we see in her flashback. Ugh, it feels weird doing it though, man. I don't like it, not one bit. Melody gets a text from Dante's.
I've unfortunately have seen so many movies in my life, horror films, dark horror films, to really go the extra mile and really fucking dive into some dark shit. And I never like it sometimes, but yeah, you probably, it's your job to count them. I get why you should count them. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I watched American Horror Story where literally, there was like a fucking school shooting in I think the first season. So and I remember when kids were calling it cool. Like, I'm not joking. I remember that too. I remember when kids were like, because they were so behind Evan Peters' character in that first season, but that, the character's arc, the story, backstory, I wasn't into it myself. I'm not a fan. I have still a sibling goes to school, and I think about that shit sometimes. I'm like, I'm so scared to hear someday a guy with a gun just starts going. It really is a scary fucking thing in this country. It really fucking is, and it is getting sickening and tiring to hear about it all the time. It really is. It's not right. I've seen so many horror films though, to where if I'm watching a horror film and it takes place in a horror film, I can kind of. I've always been able to kind of just teleport myself into the universe of the movie, so it's not really something I think of really happened or anything like that, because it's just a movie. But I remember it's just a movie in the back of my mind. That's kind of how I get through stuff like that.
Partner saying Ginny died, which messes her up so much she decides to call it quits and leave. As self-righteous as Melody appeared at first, she does show empathy and guilt about Ginny's death. She's not a bad person at all, and her shades are played perfectly by the talented Sarah Yarkin, last seen on the kill count in Happy Death Day to You. Miles away,
she
a
is
60-something-year-old chainsaw murderer is sawing his adoptive mom's face off. That's some crazy shit. It works as a callback to an earlier line Ginny said,
"Wish I'd known you were coming. I'd put my face on."
And it turns Chelsea's baby boy back into the Leatherface we know and love. She, who may be Ruth, tries to radio for help, but turns out the sheriff sitting next to her isn't quite dead yet, thus the lack of kill graphic. Leatherface pops in to fix that oversight and kills the sheriff with 2 simple bashes to the skull. Nell Hudson does some excellent scared acting here, and you really root for this woman whose name you're not quite sure of. But eventually Leatherface busts in and busts her gut, tearing open her midsection with a broken shard of glass. Hush now, child. You'll get a name in heaven. After checking the sunflower soil quality, all good here, Leatherface heads back towards the town. Why did they use that sound effect on a grill cover opening? I love it.
Texas.
Dumb plot stuff keeps the kids in town.
That's why.
Like Richter taking their keys and them trying to find that title. Other plot stuff calls Sally Hardesty back into the fray. Sorry, Sally. No more dressing pig carcasses or playing bass and keyboard in Rush. In honor of your friends whose names no one remembers, it's Leatherface hunting time once again. Sally's been recast.
I remember Franklin.
Since
That's
the original actress, Marilyn Burns, died in 2014. She's now played by Alwyn Fuele, last seen on the kill count doing cult stuff in Mandy. Best things I can say about this subplot is that it gives us some decent shots in the sunflower field later, and shows off old Ginny in all her faceless glory. That's about it. The entrepreneurs wind up in the orphanage, where Melody does in fact find the place's property title. Supposedly, that means Ginny shouldn't have been kicked out of there. But couldn't she have just kept that thing in a drawer, even if she did lose the building to the bank? They're still poking around when Leatherface gets back home, and he attacks Dante in a fun homage to Kirk's death in the original. I love the use of a swinging door in place of a sliding one. Dante bleeds out on the floor, and Melody catches a glimpse of it, so she hides in the closet and watches as Leather.
I gotta say, Dante, when he gets attacked, when his face gets attacked, it very much reminded me of Evil Dead 2013, where the girl is in the bathroom carving her face up. It very much reminded me of that.
Gets sentimental with his adoptive mother's dress. He did always have a penchant for makeup. He also doesn't like it when people invade his home, so right now he's pissed at the entrepreneurs. And this mirror! A sudden storm sends all the investors scurrying onto the bus, as inside the orphanage, Leatherface hacks his way through the bedroom wall. The camera whipping with his swings is an obvious homage to The Shining. And at this point, I don't think we need to reference that scene anymore. It's been homaged enough, everybody. The reference stirs Dante awake, who gets up and stumbles down the street towards the bus. Richter finds him with half a Joker thing going on, and though he made it this far, Dante then bleeds out to death on the sidewalk. Oh, come on, Richter. This is not the time for arm wrestling. Richter tells Catherine to call the cops while he heads towards the orphanage, gun in hand. Inside, Leatherface retrieves his unleaded Excalibur from the wall. The pull start, two-stroke, screaming yellow people mulcher, hidden away these decades past. Director Garcia says the chainsaw was one from the original film, although I can't tell if he means the exact same unit or just the same Poland brand.
I was told that this is one of the original chainsaws used in the first film.
Oh, yes.
So, and based on how the fact that it took about 20 to 30 minutes to start and didn't stay on, I would say that's correct.
Turns out you can teach an old saw new tricks, because in an unusual move for Leatherface, he hides as Richter comes upstairs. Melody tries to help out with a mirror, but Leatherface still gets the jump on the mechanic. The fight is fucking graphic. Ladies should not bend that way! And eventually, Leatherface impales Richter's neck on a glass shard. The guy heroically gets his keys out for Melody right before Leatherface puts the nail in the coffin by hammering his head repeatedly. For this outing, Leatherface is played by...
Honestly, that was probably my favorite character in the entire film. I think that guy, Richter, was fucking awesome. He put up a fight. I mean, he had his leg literally busted backwards, and this guy was still trying to shove, like, Leatherface's face onto a piece of glass in the window. I mean, he was doing his utmost best to kick his ass. I really have to give a lot of credit to that guy. He's pretty awesome.
The 6'4" Mark Burnham. His more elderly Leatherface still has energy and bloodlust, but has to take more breaks and breathers due to his age. The skin mask he wears was created by makeup artist Todd Tucker of Illusion Industries. It was designed and applied by key artist Martin Astles, who opted to make Leatherface look more sad than outright scary. The silicone face was attached to Burnham with Velcro tabs that made it easy to remove between takes. More than 20 masks were made for Burnham and various stunt performers.
I'd love
Each of
one.
them hand-punched with eyebrows and eyelashes. I couldn't get one of these new masks in time for this kill count, so I'm just using the original back there. Sorry. Melody tries to discreetly leave the orphanage, but it doesn't go exactly as planned. Whoa, holy shit, dude. Leatherface, you throwing shit now? He gets the chainsaw revving again, and they have a fun chase scene where he does an upside down Jaws through the floorboards trying to get her. This is when he cuts through a pipe and covers her in poop. Her sister Lila, having seen Dante's body on the street earlier, arrives in the nick of time to rescue Melody. Together, they flee through what looks remarkably like a studio backlot, returning to the bus with the keys to their hopeful escape. They're on their way out when Leatherface pumps the brakes for them, maybe by taking out a tire. When the driver gets out to see what's up, he's quickly killed off screen, with his head being tossed onto the bus for proof. Yeah, y'all fucked now, Catherine. Leatherface boards the bus, and everyone takes out their phones for defense.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
That infamous line is said by producer Shintaro Shimosawa, whose livestream viewers seem to think that all of this is fake, much like the audience of Joe Keery's work in The Disturbing Spree. Speaking of disturbing, Leatherface revs up his chainsaw and massacres the 21 young entrepreneurs on the bus. That figure was counted by editor Josh, who also used wide shots during the auction to double check his work. It's a gruesome scene, using more than 200 gallons of fake blood and giving us a variety of kills, including this twofer. Given this movie's tone, you might expect this slaughter scene to be fun, but it's not. It's actually horrific, especially since it reminds Lila of her school shooting experience. I'm saving one kill here for its own separate counting, Catherine's. She tries to climb out the window, but Leatherface literally cuts her in half. We're talking viscera sliding out and everything. It's seriously nasty and deserves to be highlighted. Melody and Lila are able to escape through the bus bathroom ceiling window, leaving them the only ones alive in this rainy Texas town. That is, until Slick Sally slides her way into the story. But don't get too excited, gals. Sally's basically a parody of legacy horror characters.
50 years I've been waiting for this night, just to see him again.
Wonder if she has any preferred time for evil to die. Instead of helping them, Sally leaves the sisters locked up as bait or some shit, then saunters into the orphanage with her shotgun. She follows the footprints and chainsaw to find Leatherface sitting on a couch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need something, lady?
Sally gives a dramatic speech and recites the names of her friends and annoying brother, but Leatherface betrays no recognition of them or her.
You don't remember me.
Nope, he doesn't think about you at all. Neither of these characters make a move to kill each other, and instead, Leather grabs his chainsaw and walks right past Sally like he's on his way to work.
Dude.
Leatherface goes to—
Honestly, it was like the biggest fuck you to her. I thought that was awesome, actually. Like Laurie Strode, it was kind of like that moment where everybody was like, you know what, it's not about Laurie Strode, it's those hardcore Halloween fans that were so pissed off that it always had to be about Laurie Strode. When in reality, we just wanted to see Michael fuck shit up. We wanted to see evil just go and fuck shit up. That's what we wanted to see. We didn't care about the whole Laurie Strode. It has to be about Laurie Strode. And Leatherface was like, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm doing my shit. And he just walks right by this person who thought it was all about us. It was battle. We're gonna have this epic battle. Don't you get it? I'm here for a reason. This is it. This is glory night. And he just looks at her like, what? And he just walks away. I got more important people to deal with. That was 74. That was 1974. Get a life. Go do something else productive.
To attack the sisters, which is when Sally springs back into action. She's shooting and screaming and carrying on as though someone had just paused her for the past 30 seconds.
I'm the one who got away, and I'm here to make sure you don't. Motherfucker.
God, this Sally shit is bad. Leatherface runs at her and sticks his chainsaw through her body, then lifts her up like he was trying out for the next Mortal Kombat game.
Fatality. Leatherface
fucking awesome.
wins.
He chucks his chainsaw at the fleeing sisters, sending Sally's car crashing into Richter's garage. With Melody momentarily trapped in the wreckage, Leatherface chases Lila back out into the street. He's almost got her when a somehow still alive Sally shoots him from her little trash pile. That's some good trash shooting, Sally. She tells Lila to stop running away from her trauma. Otherwise, Leatherface will haunt her for the rest of her life. Then Sally finally dies, her last act being to give her loaded gun to a school shooting survivor. To avoid growing up traumatized like that trash pile corpse, Lila hunts down her tormentor with a gun, taking control of a thing that helped ruin her life. She enters a movie theater that quickly becomes a theme park haunted maze, then stumbles upon a chainsaw idling on the ground. What is this, a trap? Akbar be damned, it is a trap! A trap doesn't seem very Leatherface, but it's also not very movie theater to have a pool in the floor of the lobby, so fuck it. Lila emerges from the water, and Leatherface follows like he were Swamp Boy Jason. In his continued fascination with Chuck and shit, he hurls his chainsaw at her again. Melody shows up to try to help her sister, then quickly loses ground to Leatherface's attacks. Lila pops in with a shotgun to show Big Boy what's what, and Melody delivers the ultimate blow by chainsaw uppercutting Leatherface backwards into the theater pond. This finishing move was an unplanned homage to Stretch doing the same to Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw 2. The sisters watch as the bleeding, sputtering killer sinks below the surface. Well, that should definitely be that. No need to worry about anything else.
Yeah, you even give it a few minutes, but I thought if that was Leatherface's death, it was actually really damn good. I would have been pretty damn satisfied with that. Like, this was the final Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like they made a direct sequel just to fucking end the story of Leatherface, and this was how he went out, like the chainsaw uppercut, and he just fell into the water and just drowned. I kind of would have been okay with that. I'd have been like, yeah, damn, I like that shot. I like how he just starts slowly sinking down. I liked how it looked. It's the Sally Hardesty shit, man. It wasn't great. I'm not a fan of how they handle Sally. I do like they just killed her off. I kind of like that. I just like that they just said fuck it. Like, there's nothing wrong with Final Girls. Don't get me wrong. I do like a good Final Girl, but they just said, like, we don't need her to show up in every single movie, so let's just kill her off here. And again, I think they even understood that Sally was not like Laurie Strode, so that's kind of like, they were like, just, you know what? Let's just end her character right here. She's not on the level of Laurie Strode. But, and I hope I worded that right. I might not have worded that right, but I did my best. I did my best. But she shouldn't even have lived after that chainsaw to the stomach and then thrown like that. How is she even able to move anymore? I would have been fucking done. I'd have been trying to pull my intestines back in, you know? Just sitting there just trying to pull my intestines back in, shaking like a leaf. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to pick up a shotgun and shoot it. Fuck that.
Ladies, you did it! The sun rises on Harlow and the girls hop into their electric car, ready for the long ride home. They set it on autopilot and pop open the sunroof to let in that Texas sunshine. Oh shit, it's fucking Leatherface! Leatherface! He drags Melody out and straight up decapitates her in the street while her sister Lila screams and watches. It is a batshit final kill, made hilarious by Lila being stuck in a self-driving car. A high-tech parody of Sally's escape. The movie ends with a Leatherface spin, another more straightforward homage to the original. And a post-credits scene shows him returning to the family farmhouse from the first film. How many gentrifiers became gentridiers? Let's find out and... excuse me.
So when it comes to the kills, who do you have to give it to? Honestly, this might be a weird one. I'm gonna give it to the fucking cop who got the bone stabbing to the neck. I thought that was so creative and cool. I'm gonna give it to him, and I think for my least favorite kill, I'll give it to... I guess I'll give it to Dante. Because Dante just got slashed in the face. He just went out on the street and bled. That's his death. But I'd probably give it to him. In all honesty.
We counted 38 victims in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. With a 16-15-7 split, we wound up with mostly even guys and gals, with a big wedge of unknown flashback victims. This body count blows the rest of the franchise out of the water. The first 5 movies were pretty chill with kills, and though Leatherface had 21, this was nearly double that. I really like these franchise stats. With a breezy runtime of 74 minutes, that left us with a kill on average more frequent than every 2 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to the Bus Massacre, including Catherine. Out of all the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, this massacre was the most massacre of them all.
I honestly thought he wasn't going to count that because it was just a bunch of kills in one. I thought he was going to give it to one specific kill, but if that was the case, I would probably give it to the Bus Massacre too, because it was like an actual massacre in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Machete for lamest kill will go to Sally Hardesty, not because of how it happened, but because it happened. All that did was verify that the Sally subplot was garbage. And that's it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in 2022. Some called it woke, some called it conservative, and many called it pretty bad and dumb. But I like it, mostly. Until next time, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the kill count.
It was a very messy script. It was a very messy movie overall. I still enjoyed it for what it was. I had a fun time watching it. I haven't watched it since, but I actually did enjoy it, and I think I've seen it twice. I think I've seen the movie twice. So, guys, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. What was your favorite kill and least favorite kill in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022? I'm curious to your guys' opinions down below. What did you think of the Sally Hardesty story? Do you think it was trash? Let me know. I'm curious to hear your opinions, and if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the content. It does mean a lot, and I will check you guys out in the next video. Keep it retro, and take care.